What's going on, folks? You should definitely already know who it is. It's your boy Ride Dog here, and I'm doing something a little different this time. Probably not going to have as much time to do recap videos during the season, but I thought I'd do something I've never done before and kind of connect the thread of all the different seasons. I usually don't do a recap after the season to tell you who's champ because I usually don't care. It's usually not me, but yeah, I thought I'd give a little perspective on the league, 7 years deep, and just kind of see where I think everyone lands, where the power rankings are, if you connect all the seasons. So let's get straight down to business here. So I think when you're ranking these guys, you have to put the champs on top. We have 5 champs. They all got to be up here. If you've won before, no one can really say anything to you. So that's the way I see it. These guys are going to be our top here. We got Shan, Sam, Garrett. We got Doug. And, of course, Derek from year 1. So I think if I did this video a year ago, even though Doug has 2 championships and Garrett only has 1, there still could maybe be a case to put Garrett in the same tier as Doug just because he's been so many times. Up until then, he'd already been 4 times. Now he's been 5. So... And now that Garrett has a 2nd championship, I think he's just the unquestioned champion of the league so far. So we got to put Garrett up here. And, right behind him is Doug. Doug has 2 back-to-back championships as well. And he almost had a 3rd. He made it to the semis the following year. That was a really scary chance. He might do a 3-peat there. But, yeah, so Doug had a chunk of seasons where he's done really well. He hasn't done awful since then. A couple bad seasons, couple mediocre seasons, I think. But, I think these guys are no question our 2 top dogs of skips. Then from there, we got Shan and Sam. And their stats are pretty similar. They've both been in the playoffs 4 times. But Sam has 1 more playoff win. And he's made the semis 1 more time than Shannon. So I think he edges her out in this A tier here. So I'm going to rank them like this. Sam and Shan closely behind. And then, we got our year 1 champ, Derek. Derek's year 1 win will always be a little special. And, he hasn't done too bad since then. He's made the playoffs 1 more time to bring it to his playoff total to 2. Same kind of thing. I think he's had 1 atrocious year, and since then he's kind of been middle of the road. So, hey, he's got a ring now, so he's in the A tier. Right, so now we have the fun task of ranking the non-champion. So I'm going to bring up the fact that Matt and myself are the only people that have made the finals and obviously not won. So Matt's going to be interesting. I don't really know how to rank him. He did well. He did great the first season. 2 seasons later, made the finals. And then since there has been kind of back and forth. I think 2 seasons he missed the playoff by inches, and then, as we all know, the last 2 seasons he's been in dead last. So that hurts his legacy, I think, a little bit. I'm actually not going to rank myself until the end. But someone else in this B tier, I think, is Jill. So Jill has a really interesting history. She missed a season, so she's only played 6, but she's gone to the playoffs 5 out of those 6. The only problem is that she has 0 playoff wins. So I think that's kind of a ding. We're waiting on her to get her first playoff win. But stunningly, she's made the semis 3 times just based on seeding. So she's really good at getting top 2 regular season and then just flaming out in the playoffs. So, Jill, I'm looking forward to her getting that first playoff win at some point. But until then, she's at the top of the B tier. She does have year 2. She has the highest points, so I think that's kind of a cool stat. And then also, maybe even cooler, is she has the biggest game in history. She in 2015 year 2, she scored 203 points, and I'm actually a little surprised that that's the highest because I know we've had at least a few 200-point games. So she's got that stat under her belt. So yeah, I'm putting her at the top of the B. So what else we got here? So let's go ahead and bring in EJ here. EJ kind of the first few years was just clown style, kind of the league taco, making goofy moves. But string of years he had like crazy regular season teams, kind of like Jill, where I think like one of my favorite seasons of his was he had Le'Veon Bell and Gurley when he broke out, and yeah, his team was like unstoppable that year. He hasn't done much since. He's made the playoffs 3 times, so that's under 50%. And like Jill, he has 0 wins, so I'm gonna put him kind of at the top of the C tier, where he's kind of the king of the guys that are like have done something, but like haven't done too much. So let's go ahead and bring in Austin here, who I think has had a really interesting few seasons. He obviously wasn't a part of the first 1 or 2, I forget, but Austin, obviously, like his most memorable season is year 5, where he absolutely dominated the regular season. He had highest points with 1,900 exactly. And just for some perspective, the next closest highest points through the season is 1,784 from Doug the year before. So no one's even touched 800 points regular season, and Austin just crushed it with 1,900 that year. So super memorable year. That's the one where he drafted Saquon his rookie year, where he just balled out, and that's the year that he spent a third of his waiver money before the season started after the draft to get James Conner. So just had basically a running back 1 for free. And then this is kind of a funny little thing about Austin, is that he has the record for most kicker points in a single game with a 27 when he had Greg Zuerlein for that crazy year in 2017. So yeah, that was a fun one. Since then, though, I don't think he's made the playoffs. Let me double check this here. Yes, it's only been once. Crazy regular season, went straight to the semis and just had a dud of a game, immediately got eliminated. So he's still waiting on that first playoff win. He needs to make the playoffs again to move up tiers, I think. Let's see. So yeah, Matt. I'm thinking based off where I'm putting these guys, he's got to be at the bottom of the B. The fact that he made the finals, that's just so much better than the rest of these guys. I'm gonna hang his hat on that. As more teams start to make, we'll see how that shakes out. And if he has another horrible season, he's going down for sure. But I think he's kind of bottom of the middle of the road for Matt right here. So Eric is another one that's kind of been back and forth. My favorite thing about Eric is that one of the years he's the only person to ever make playoffs with a losing record. So I think he made it with 6-7 one year, where just the top teams were running away with wins, and so that left a lot of like room in the middle, for teams to like sneak in. And he snuck into the playoffs at 6-7. He's made playoffs 3 times, so kind of like EJ, just under 500. But yeah, he's only won 1 and made it to the semis once. So I'm gonna put him. I can make a case to put him right behind EJ, but I'm going to put him behind Austin just because he's never had a killer year. There's never been like a true like year of the hunk, so I'm kind of waiting for that. Let's see here. So Jesse's a guy that I feel like every year people kind of clown his draft. He kind of like picks a little goofy, little off the rankings, and every year he exceeds expectations. So he's definitely going back here to the C. He's made playoffs twice, no wins. I feel like he's been close though, at least another time, maybe 2 if I'm not mistaken. But it's gonna put him right here at the end of C, I think. So another guy that I included in here is Chris. I know he's not in the league anymore, but Chris kind of has like the fun fact of one year he didn't make playoffs, but he ended the season with the highest points out of everyone, including the champ. So yeah, I think it was just a heartbreaking year for him, where he missed playoffs by like an inch. He had way more points than some of the people that made playoffs, but he just was like losing close games in the season. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Like he definitely would have won the league if he made playoffs. So it just kind of like reminds you how crucial those early wins are, how brutal it is regular season. So I'm going to slot Chris in here at the end of the C. He hasn't really done much since then. In addition to that, he made playoffs the first year and then basically missed the rest. that leaves, we got Elliot here. So Elliot, not much to work with here with him. He's only played 1 year. It's a great addition to the league. Had kind of a fun year. Was kind of back and forth. I called him Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Just would either go off or put up a dud. I think he finished like 10th or something. But this is now the tier. D tier is if you haven't made playoffs yet. So better luck next year. You were close. You were kind of close. Did great for your first year. And that leaves Brandon. So I think I said this before the season last year that everyone that's ever played in skips, including some fools that only played for like 1 or 2 years, anyone who's played at least 3 seasons has made playoffs once. So I think Brandon's the first person to kind of break that. He's played for at least 3 years, no playoffs yet. He hasn't done he hasn't done horrible, but you know, got to make playoffs at least once. Even if you get knocked out right away, he's waiting on that still. He's made some cool moves, done some cool things with teams, but still waiting on that. So yeah, I think that just leaves me now. I don't know. It's tough for me. So I've made finals twice, playoffs 5 times. So same as Garrett as far as playoff makes. Have missed 2 seasons. 4 wins, semis 3 times, and 2 finals. I think instead of moving Jill back in the B, I think I'm just going to slot myself at the end of the A. I don't know if that's weird to put myself in the tier of the champions at the back, but I've had a pretty good playoff history. Like I said, 4 wins. Had highest point first seed for the first year, so I think that's kind of a important stat too. So yeah, I'm gonna slot myself right there. I don't feel too bad about that. So cool, guys. Those are my tier list. Let me know what you think. Agree, disagree, sound off in the comments. Looking forward to a fun season. I think this year is going to be the most competitive yet. Everyone drafted really well. So yeah, we'll see how this tier list shakes out. Maybe in a couple years can revisit it, shuffle a couple things around. So hope you guys enjoyed. Catch y'all next time. Peace.